As part of the new Winsor Newton Artists Acrylic range of mediums, there are two matte mediums. These will reduce the sheen of your Artists Acrylic to make them look more matte. Those two matte mediums are a matte medium and a matte gel. I'd just like to show you these down here to show you how they work with the colour. First of all, I'd like to look at the matte medium. The matte medium effectively reduces the gloss of Artists Acrylic, making the dry colour look very flat and matte without it looking dull. So I'm mixing in some of the phthalo green blue shades here, and you can see as I'm mixing it in there's no loss of colour depth at all, and because it has a slightly more fluid consistency to the colour, it makes the colour go very smooth and very flat. I can quite easily brush this out. So although it looks like it has a slight sheen on it at the moment, this is because the colour's still wet. As this dries, this will look nice and matte and very flat. Because the matte medium is formulated using the same unique clear binder as in the Artists Acrylic colour, there's no shift in colour as your colour and medium dry, and also there's no loss of colour depth when you mix them together. The matte medium is particularly good for doing large areas or large scale paintings such as urban landscapes or photorealist paintings where you want nice flat areas of colour, not dull, flat areas of colour. It's also worth pointing out now that you can add as much medium as you like to the colour, but you have to bear in mind that the more you add, you will start to sacrifice some transparency. The matte gel achieves the same level of matteness as the matte medium, but it has the same luxurious buttery consistency that the colour does. So as I mix this in with the same phthalo green blue shade, you can see that there's no change in the actual consistency of the paint. I still have that good peak retention, and also if I run a brush through this, good brush stroke retention. All that I've changed is the level of sheen. So as this dries, it's going to dry very matte, not dull like I said before, but very matte. As with the matte medium, the matte gel is formulated using the same unique clear binder, therefore there's no loss of colour depth, no change of colour as it dries. The matte gel is particularly good for heavy impasto techniques such as dramatic seascapes or landscapes, or figurative work where you want your brush strokes to really remain in the colour. If I use other brand matte mediums that don't have the clear resin technology, two examples here, and then put it alongside our version. If I mix this in with that same phthalo green blue shade, you can see that first of all with the Artists Acrylic medium there's no loss of colour depth whatsoever there. Mixed in with this, you can see instantly it's starting to look a little almost grey around the edges. It's making the colour look dull as opposed to matte. And then the third one, again, you see how it looks a little grey in areas here, particularly down in here. It's also lightened the colour considerably, this one. With the Winsor Newton Acrylic and the Winsor Newton Matte Gel, you can see there's no loss of colour depth here whatsoever. These other two brands here have significantly lightened the colour, so I've lost all my colour depth here. So in summary, there's two new matte mediums within the Artists Acrylic Mediums range, those being matte medium and matte gel. The matte medium gives you a more flatter matte appearance, whereas the matte gel maintains your buttery consistency, helping you to do matte impasto techniques.